As dawn slowly filtered through the thick canopy of the forest, the alien team regrouped and cautiously assessed the damage to both their spacecraft and their surroundings. The once pristine landing site had transformed into a chaotic tableau of broken branches, flattened undergrowth, and scattered equipment. Every movement required careful consideration, as the forest seemed almost sentient. Testing their ability to navigate and survive, the group's sensors picked up subtle environmental fluctuations. Sudden shifts in temperature, pockets of dense fog that obscured vision, and intermittent bursts of electromagnetic interference that momentarily disrupted their instruments. The alien leader, a tall figure with translucent skin that shimmered in the pale sunlight, realized that relying solely on technology would not be enough to traverse this foreign world. They had to develop intuition, adapt to the unpredictable behaviors of Earth's ecosystem, and understand the subtle rhythms of life around them. The morning brought new challenges almost immediately. Small predators, curious and cautious, began to observe the aliens from a distance. The team noted the patterns of movement: a fox-like creature sniffing along the forest floor, birds fluttering nervously between branches, and insects forming complex, coordinated swarms. The aliens, unfamiliar with the nuances of predator-prey relationships, had to quickly learn to identify threats without overreacting. One of the team members, experimenting with stealth maneuvers, accidentally disturbed a hornet nest. Within seconds, the air was filled with buzzing. The group found themselves fleeing, dodging sharp stings and swatting away aggressive insects. The experience was both a lesson and a revelation. Earth's creatures, though small and seemingly insignificant compared to their advanced technology, could present immediate danger, and underestimating them could prove fatal in their search for safer terrain. The team stumbled upon a shallow stream, its crystal-clear water glistening in the sunlight. For the aliens, who had primarily subsisted on synthesized nutrients during their long interstellar journey, the concept of drinking natural water was foreign. Sensors confirmed its purity. Yet the alien biology reacted unpredictably to the presence of microbial life, forcing them to experiment cautiously. Some drank in small sips, observing the effects on their physiology, while others avoided consumption. Altogether, even a basic necessity like hydration had become a complex, multi-step task, demonstrating just how unfamiliar the terrestrial environment was. While engaged in these careful studies, they observed small mammals drinking along the stream bank, interacting with one another in ways that displayed both cooperation and competition. The aliens began to recognize a pattern in the chaos. Survival on Earth depended not only on adaptation but also on understanding relationships, networks, and behaviors that were invisible to purely technological analysis. Midday brought another unexpected twist. Sudden shift in weather conditions signaled an approaching storm. Dark clouds rolled over the forest like an advancing army, lightning fracturing the sky in jagged, blinding streaks. Rain began to fall in sheets, soaking the forest floor and turning once solid paths into treacherous mudslicks. The aliens had never experienced such raw, unfiltered force from nature itself. Instruments registered rapid fluctuations in air, pressure, and electromagnetic fields, making navigation even more challenging. Forced to find shelter quickly, the team scattered in search of protection, discovering a natural cave partially concealed by hanging vines. Inside, the cool, damp air smelled of mineral and moss, a stark contrast to the organic complexity of the forest outside. Here, they were forced to rely on their instincts to maintain warmth, monitor energy reserves, and assess ongoing environmental risks. The storm raged for hours, each minute teaching the aliens more about resilience, patience, and the unpredictable temperament of a planet teeming with life. As the rain subsided, the alien team ventured further into uncharted territory. Dense thickets gave way to clearings dotted with wildflowers and strange, twisting trees, unlike any they had ever catalogued. While scanning the terrain, they stumbled upon evidence of human activity. A narrow dirt path, faint footprints, and remnants of firewood carefully arranged in a small circle. It was the first undeniable sign that humans inhabited this part of the forest, and their presence introduced a new layer of complexity. The aliens debated the best course of action. Should they avoid human contact to prevent interference, or study them more closely to understand the intelligence that shared the planet with so many other life forms? Their curiosity won out, and with careful observation from hidden vantage points, they began documenting the humans' behavior. How they gathered food, how they communicated through gestures and speech, and how they responded to the environment around them. Every interaction revealed subtle intelligence, creativity, and adaptability that technology alone could never replicate. The team realized that learning from humans, in addition to the ecosystem itself, was essential for their own survival and understanding of Earth's complex systems. Hours turned into days, and the aliens' experience deepened. They learned to predict animal behavior, identify edible plants, and even anticipate minor weather changes through observation rather than instrumentation. One alien separated briefly from the group while tracking a small herd of deer-like creatures, discovered a natural spring hidden behind a waterfall. The alien marveled at the delicate balance sustaining life here. Water flowed precisely where it needed to. Sunlight filtered through foliage to nurture the forest floor, and predators and prey maintained a dynamic equilibrium, the alien documented. Every detail, recording behavioral patterns, environmental cues, and interactions that highlighted the interconnectedness of all life. Simultaneously, they began to experiment with cooperation, assisting injured animals, sharing information with fellow team members through gestures and signals, and improvising tools from the natural resources around them. These acts fostered a sense of empathy and responsibility previously foreign to their culture, forging connections that went beyond mere survival. By the end of this extensive period of adaptation, the alien team had transformed. What began as a mission of observation had become an immersive experience in survival, learning, and emotional growth. The forest, with its dangers, mysteries, and fleeting moments of beauty, had taught them lessons that no classroom or simulation could convey. Each member of the team carried knowledge of ecosystems, species, and survival strategies, but also a newfound understanding of patience, empathy, and interconnectedness. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of amber and crimson, the aliens gathered once more near their repaired spacecraft. They shared silent glances, acknowledging the transformation each had undergone. Earth was no longer a distant subject for observation. It had become a teacher, a crucible, and an enduring presence in their consciousness. Their journey had revealed not only the challenges of an alien world, but also the depth of their own capacity to learn, adapt, and connect in ways previously unimaginable. The night sky stretched endlessly, a deep velvet canvas speckled with countless stars, their light flickering like distant fires across the cosmos. Silence dominated the world below, a profound stillness that seemed almost sacred, as though the earth itself was holding its breath. Suddenly, a brilliant streak of light tore through the heavens, moving faster than anything native to this planet could possibly achieve. It descended through the atmosphere with a hiss and a roar, igniting clouds in a cascade of fiery brilliance before finally crashing into the dense, shadowed heart of a remote forest. The ground shuddered, sending tremors along the roots of ancient trees and startling nocturnal creatures into frantic motion. From this celestial vehicle emerged beings unlike anything the Earth had ever seen. Their skin shimmered with an iridescent glow, reflecting the moonlight in subtle patterns that shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Their eyes, large and luminous, absorbed every detail of their surroundings, scanning the terrain with a precision that belied the sheer novelty of what they were witnessing. The aliens had traveled light years from a world of advanced civilizations, one where machines and intellect ruled supreme, yet where true emotion and the chaotic beauty of nature were nearly foreign concepts. Now, standing on a planet teeming with life, they faced a reality entirely unlike the ordered existence they had known. As they cautiously stepped from their craft, the first sensation to overwhelm them was the air itself. Cool, humid, and fragrant with the scent of pine and earth, it wrapped around them in waves that their sensors struggled to quantify. Every inhalation brought new chemical signatures, a complex tapestry of life that no algorithm could fully decode. The forest was alive not mechanically, but organically. Leaf branch, an organism contributing to a pulse that resonated deep within the soil. Tiny insects scuttled across the forest floor, their movements erratic yet purposeful. But owl hooted somewhere above, its call slicing through the silence with a haunting melody. The aliens observed this world with a mixture of fascination and apprehension, marveling at the unpredictable complexity, aware that each step forward might present unseen hazards. Their instruments detected unusual magnetic fields, fluctuating, gravitational readings, and rapid environmental changes. It became immediately clear that this was no ordinary mission. The simplicity of observation would not suffice. Adaptation, strategy, and keen intuition would all be demanded of them. Within minutes, their first true challenge emerged. The forest floor, seemingly ordinary, became a treacherous obstacle course. Thick underbrush snagged on their limbs' roots, twisted beneath their feet like living traps, and hidden depressions threatened to throw them off balance. Earth's gravity, stronger than they had anticipated, weighed heavily on their bodies, forcing them to adjust their movements and conserve energy. One of the aliens, unfamiliar with the delicate equilibrium of terrestrial ecosystems, brushed against a plant that exuded a subtle but potent toxin. Immediately, the alien felt a burning sensation on its skin, a rapid influx of chemical reactions that sent shivers down its neural network. The group rushed to assist, deploying diagnostic scanners and medical nanites. Yet they discovered that their most advanced tools were insufficient against Earth's simple, organic defenses. In a moment of stark revelation, the team realized that intellect and technology alone could not conquer every challenge. Understanding and respect for local life forms were equally essential. As they cautiously advanced, human presence became an unexpected variable in the equation. Faint voices drifted through the trees, punctuated by the crunch of footsteps on leaf-littered paths. A small band of local villagers, drawn by the strange lights and distant sounds, had entered the forest. The aliens attempted to conceal themselves, manipulating leech-reflective fields to blend into the shadows, but a subtle miscalculation betrayed their location. The humans froze, eyes wide with awe and terror, unsure if they were witnessing a miracle, a monster, or some inexplicable cosmic phenomenon. Panic rippled through the group. Some raised makeshift weapons, others attempted to flee, and a few approached cautiously, driven by curiosity and disbelief. The aliens, whose mission had been purely observational, suddenly faced the need to make split-second decisions about defense and evasion. A protective energy shield was deployed, creating a wave that pushed the humans back without harming them. Yet this intervention triggered a cascade of reactions. Animals scattered in all directions, birds took flight in frantic waves, and the forest itself seemed to shudder under the strain of disruption. In the chaos, one alien became separated from its companions, forced into the unknown shadows of the night. Alone, the alien moved deeper into the forest, its senses heightened by both fear and curiosity. The canopy above blocked out much of the moonlight, casting the ground into patches of deep shadow, interspersed with silvered highlights where stray beams broke through. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig, the distant splash of water was scrutinized, interpreted as a potential threat or a clue. Without the guidance of technology or the reassurance of companions, it was forced to observe carefully. Learning the subtle cues that dictated survival in this foreign environment, in time it began to notice patterns. How nocturnal predators hunted, how smaller creatures avoided danger, how water sources could be located by tracking movement and sound. These lessons were simple, yet profound, a stark contrast to the sterile simulations of its homeworld. In a turning moment, it discovered a small, injured creature trapped beneath fallen branches. Though hesitant at first, the alien applied gentle care, leveraging limited tools alongside its newfound understanding of the forest. The act of helping the creature awakened emotions previously dormant: empathy, concern, and an unexpected sense of connection. As the storm clouds gathered above, lightning splitting the sky, and rain beginning to fall in heavy sheets. The alien realized that Earth was teaching lessons far beyond survival. It was teaching understanding, adaptation, and respect. Meanwhile, the other aliens, aware of the separation, initiated a methodical search. Their spacecraft, partially damaged by atmospheric entry, limited their mobility and required careful resource management. Their search through the forest mirrored the challenges faced by their lone companion: thick underbrush, unstable footing, unpredictable wildlife, and fluctuating weather. Over hours that stretched into an eternity, they pieced together environmental clues, following faint traces of movement, energy readings, and disrupted foliage. Finally, during the height of the storm, they found the isolated alien beneath a massive, sheltering tree. The reunion was understated yet profound, a silent acknowledgement of shared struggle and survival. Together, they navigated the remaining night, repairing their damaged spacecraft and preparing to depart. As dawn broke, casting a golden glow over the forest canopy, the aliens took one final, lingering look at the planet they had explored. Earth was no longer merely an objective of observation. It was a teacher, a crucible, and a world whose lessons would resonate far beyond the mission itself. Their adventure had concluded, but the imprint of its experiences would endure, reshaping their understanding of life, empathy, and the unpredictable beauty of the universe. As night fell over the forest once more, the alien team moved cautiously. Through the underbrush, their senses heightened by the events of the previous days. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, and every distant animal call was meticulously analyzed, each sound potentially signaling danger or opportunity. The full moon cast silvery beams through the treetops, illuminating patches of the forest floor and revealing shadows that seemed almost alive. For the first time, the aliens fully understood the complexity of this ecosystem, not just as an observer, but as participants whose every action could ripple through the delicate balance of life around them. Their instruments continued to function. Yet they had learned that the truest insights came not from technology alone, but from patient observation and careful interpretation of natural cues. It was during this night that their first direct encounter with humans occurred. A small group of villagers had ventured deep into the forest, drawn by rumors of strange lights and mysterious sounds. The aliens observed silently from a distance at first, studying the humans' behavior, gestures, and communication patterns. They noted the way the humans worked together, shared resources, and displayed emotions ranging from fear to curiosity. Yet the humans were equally observant, their eyes scanning the forest as though expecting the unexpected. Inevitably, the encounter escalated when one human tripped over a fallen branch, startling a nearby alien. A sudden movement revealed their presence and a tense standoff ensued. The humans, unsure of whether they faced a threat or a miracle, reacted with a mix of awe, panic, and defensive aggression. Some attempted to flee, others raised tools or sticks in cautious defense, while a few approached cautiously, seeking to understand what had intruded into their world. The aliens, trained for observation rather than conflict, faced a dilemma. Their mission had never involved direct confrontation with intelligent species, yet their survival now depended on quick decision-making. They activated a low-level energy field that created a protective barrier, preventing the humans from approaching too closely. The effect was immediate. The humans stumbled back, eyes wide with fear, while the aliens maintained their defensive positions. However, the protective measure also caused unintended consequences. Birds scattered in every direction, startled by the energy pulse. Small mammals bolted into hiding, and the forest seemed to vibrate with sudden tension. In the chaos, one alien became separated from the group, forced to navigate the forest alone. Under the pressure of nightfall, environmental hazards, and unpredictable animal behavior. Alone, the separated alien faced an intense learning curve. It relied on observation to survive, noting patterns of animal behavior, listening to distant sounds, and analyzing environmental changes with heightened attention. The alien discovered the importance of patience, timing, and adaptability in navigating Earth's complex ecosystem. Every decision mattered, choosing the right path, Avoiding predators, locating food, and conserving energy became daily exercises in strategy and resilience. In a striking moment of empathy, the alien encountered an injured animal trapped beneath fallen branches. Using careful observation and rudimentary tools, it helped the creature. Realizing that acts of assistance could foster cooperation and understanding, even across species, this experience introduced the alien to unfamiliar emotions, including compassion, concern, and a growing awareness of interconnection with the living world around it. Meanwhile, the main group of aliens, aware of the separation, embarked on systematic search. They tracked faint energy signatures, analyzed disrupted foliage, and interpreted indirect environmental clues. The forest proved challenging, full of pitfalls, unstable terrain, and unpredictable weather. At one point, a sudden downpour flooded portions of the forest floor, transforming paths into mudslides and complicating their search. Yet these challenges also served as lessons. The aliens began to understand the nuances of Earth's survival systems, how organisms adapted to sudden changes, how cooperation increased resilience, and how careful observation could predict shifts in the environment. Their strategies evolved from purely technological approaches to more nuanced, experience-based decision-making. After several tense days, the aliens successfully located their lost companion beneath a large canopy tree, taking shelter from a subsequent storm. The reunion was silent yet profound, a recognition of the shared trials and adaptations each had undergone. Together, the team reflected on the lessons learned. Patience, empathy, observation, and strategic adaptation were as critical as any technology they possessed. The encounter with humans had introduced unpredictability, testing both their intellect and their newly discovered capacity for emotional and social understanding. The forest, with its dangers and mysteries, had become more than a setting. It had transformed into a teacher, shaping them in ways that no interstellar journey or simulation could have achieved. As they prepared to continue their exploration, the aliens carried forward a newfound wisdom, blending the technological prowess of their civilization with the adaptive intelligence and empathy gained through direct experience on Earth. With the reunion complete, the alien team ventured deeper into the forest, their understanding of Earth's unpredictable dynamics steadily expanding. Each step brought new revelations, the subtle interaction between wind and tree canopies, the way sunlight filtered through leaves to create shifting patterns on the forest floor, and on the delicate balance of micro-ecosystems that supported countless life forms. They noticed small insects regulating plant growth, fungi contributing to soil fertility, and tiny mammals shaping the undergrowth, all of which underscored the intricacy of the environment. The aliens began recording these patterns meticulously, noting the interdependence of species and the subtle cues that indicated shifts in the ecosystem. What was initially a world of chaotic randomness gradually revealed a complex, interconnected system, each element contributing to the forest's stability and resilience. Early into this phase, the team encountered a series of natural obstacles that tested both their physical and cognitive capabilities. A dense thicket blocked their path, forcing them to navigate a narrow, twisting corridor of roots and vines while avoiding hidden pitfalls. Streams swollen with rainwater created sudden mist. Rapids and slippery rocks threatened to topple even the most cautious traveler. The aliens quickly realized that their technological tools were insufficient to fully counter these challenges. Brute force could no longer guarantee progress. They adapted by observing the natural patterns around them, learning where the ground was most stable, how branches could be used for support, and how animals traversed the terrain. Each adaptation reinforced a crucial lesson. Success depended not only on intelligence, but on intuition, experience, and a willingness to learn from the environment rather than impose control upon it. As they navigated this hazardous landscape, the aliens began encountering Earth's wildlife in increasingly complex ways. Predators, both large and small, shadowed their movements, while prey species demonstrated astonishing agility and survival strategies. One night, a pack of nocturnal carnivores approached, their eyes gleaming in the dim light as they assessed the alien intruders. The team's initial instinct was to retreat, but through careful observation they discovered subtle signals in the animals' movement patterns and vocalizations. By mimicking the rhythms of the forest and moving in synchrony with natural cues, the aliens avoided confrontation while gaining critical insight into predator behavior. In another instance, a group of birds demonstrated cooperative hunting techniques, teaching the aliens lessons in communication, timing, and coordination. These interactions highlighted an emergent principle. Earth's life forms operated through collaboration, adaptation, and feedback loops in ecosystem intelligence that was distinct from any technological framework the aliens had previously encountered. The team's exploration also led them to new geographic features: steep ravines, hidden waterfalls, and open clearings rich with vegetation and water sources. In each environment, they faced unique challenges. Crossing a narrow cliff required balancing physical stability with mental precision, while navigating a wetland demanded patience and creativity to avoid sinking into treacherous mud. The aliens discovered that each environment required a tailored approach, blending observation, strategic planning, and improvisation. They began creating temporary tools and using natural materials to assist movement, such as crafting makeshift bridges from fallen logs or using vines to secure themselves against slips. Every successful maneuver reinforced a growing sense of competence and confidence in navigating a world that, though initially hostile, offered rich opportunities for learning and mastery. During one particularly harrowing night, a sudden lightning storm struck the forest, splitting trees and igniting small fires. The aliens were forced to make split-second decisions, whether to take shelter, rescue trapped animals, or risk exposure to navigate the danger. Through collaboration, quick adaptation, careful analysis of environmental signals, they mitigated the immediate threats while preserving both themselves and some of the forest creatures. This event solidified an essential truth: survival on Earth was a dynamic, ongoing negotiation with forces both visible and unseen. By embracing the unpredictability and interdependence of life on this planet, the aliens were no longer mere observers. They had become participants, learning the delicate art of coexistence with a complex and challenging ecosystem. By the end of this intense phase, the alien team had undergone profound transformation. Their understanding of Earth's ecological and social systems had deepened significantly. Blending technological acumen with a nuanced appreciation for environmental intelligence, they had learned to interpret subtle cues, predict behavioral patterns, and act in harmony with the natural world. Each member carried the knowledge that survival required not just capability, but empathy, patience, and adaptability. With the forest now less a threat and more a teacher, the aliens prepared to explore broader regions, eager to continue learning from both the living and non-living elements of the planet. Earth, once simply a mission target, had become a crucible for growth, understanding, and discovery, a world whose lessons would resonate far beyond the forest's edges. With the forest trials behind them and a deeper understanding of Earth's intricate balance, the alien team began preparations for departure. Their spacecraft, previously damaged during the chaotic landing and early exploration, had been meticulously repaired using a combination of advanced technology and lessons learned from the environment. Every tool and component had been tested against the realities of terrestrial conditions, ensuring that they could withstand the stresses of departure while remaining adaptable for potential future encounters. The team gathered in a quiet clearing, exchanging silent acknowledgments of the journey they had shared. Mission that had begun as a purely scientific endeavor had evolved into a profound journey of discovery, adaptation, and emotional growth. The alien, who had once been separated, now stood alongside its companions, their shared experiences having forged bonds that transcended mere operational coordination before lifting off. The aliens took one final survey of the forest that had served as their crucible of learning. They observed the interplay of sunlight and shadow, the subtle movements of wildlife adjusting to the presence of interlopers, and the undisturbed cycles of life that continued despite their intrusion. Each observation was catalogued and recorded, but But it was the qualitative lessons, the understanding of patience, empathy, and cooperation that weighed heaviest in their collective consciousness. The storm scars on the land, broken branches, and displaced animals were all reminders of the consequences of interference and the delicate balance that governed this planet. Unlike simulations or controlled environments back home, Earth had responded unpredictably, forcing them to adapt, make real-time decisions, and live with the outcomes of their choices. In doing so, they had gained insights into survival ethics, interconnectedness that no theoretical study could provide. The team reflected on their encounters with humans, whose presence had added complexity, challenge, and insight to the mission. Observing the villagers' resourcefulness, communication methods, social structures provided invaluable lessons in intelligence, cooperation, and resilience. These beings, though technologically primitive compared to the alien civilization, displayed qualities that were critical to thriving in an unpredictable environment: adaptability, empathy, and social cohesion. The aliens recognized that survival and success were not merely functions of technology or intellect, but of understanding and responding to the world's living, dynamic systems. In a sense, the humans had inadvertently become teachers, demonstrating how emotional intelligence and cooperation could rival even the most advanced artificial systems in facilitating survival. By the end of this intense phase, the alien team had undergone profound transformation. Their understanding of Earth's ecological and social systems had deepened significantly, blending technological acumen with a nuanced appreciation for environmental intelligence. They had learned to interpret subtle cues, predict behavioral patterns, and act in harmony with the natural world. Each member carried the knowledge that survival required not just capability, but empathy, patience, and adaptability. Out with the forests now less a threat and more a teacher, the aliens prepared to explore broader regions, eager to continue learning from both the living and non-living elements of the planet. Earth, once simply a mission target, had become a crucible for growth, understanding, and discovery, a world whose lessons would resonate far beyond the forest's edges. With the forest trials behind them and a deeper understanding of Earth's intricate balance, the alien team began preparations for departure. Their spacecraft, previously damaged during the chaotic landing in early exploration, had been meticulously repaired using a combination of advanced technology and lessons learned from the environment. Every tool and component had been tested against the realities of terrestrial conditions, ensuring that they could withstand the stresses of departure while remaining adaptable for potential future encounters. The team gathered in a quiet clearing, exchanging silent acknowledgments of the journey they had shared. A mission that had begun as a purely scientific endeavor had evolved into a profound journey of discovery, adaptation, and emotional growth. The alien who had once been separated now stood alongside its companions, their shared experiences having forged bonds that transcended mere operational coordination before lifting off. The aliens took one final survey of the forest that had served as their crucible of learning. They observed the interplay of sunlight and shadow, the subtle movements of wildlife adjusting to the presence of interlopers, and the undisturbed cycles of life that continued despite their intrusion. Each observation was catalogued and recorded, but it was the qualitative lessons, the understanding of patience, empathy, and cooperation that weighed heaviest in their collective consciousness. The storm scars on the land, broken branches, displaced animals were all reminders of the consequences of interference and the delicate balance that governed this planet. Unlike simulations or controlled environments back home, Earth had responded unpredictably, forcing them to adapt, make real-time decisions, and live with the outcomes of their choices. In doing so, they had gained insights into survival ethics, interconnectedness that no theoretical study could provide. The team reflected on their encounters with humans, whose presence had added complexity, challenge, and insight to the mission. Observing the villagers' resourcefulness, communication methods, social structures provided invaluable lessons in intelligence, cooperation, and resilience. These beings, though technologically primitive compared to the alien civilization, displayed qualities that were critical to thriving in an unpredictable environment: adaptability, empathy, and social cohesion. The aliens recognized that survival and success were not merely functions of technology or intellect, but of understanding and responding to the world's living, dynamic systems. In a sense, the humans had inadvertently become teachers, demonstrating how emotional intelligence and cooperation could rival even the most advanced artificial systems in facilitating survival. As the spacecraft ascended, breaking through the cloud cover and leaving the forest behind, the team reviewed the mission's outcomes and implications. Their databanks contained unprecedented levels of information about Earth's biology, geology, and atmospheric dynamics, but more importantly, their consciousness carried the intangible knowledge gained through lived experience. They had learned to balance instinct with analysis, observation with intervention, and technology with empathy. The forest, the storms, the wildlife. And even the humans had contributed to a transformation that extended far beyond the immediate goals of the mission. The aliens had arrived as explorers, observers, and analysts, but they were leaving as participants, learners, and beings profoundly affected by a planet's living complexity. Each member carried a deeper appreciation for unpredictability, for life's interconnections, and for the subtle, intricate patterns that sustained existence on Earth. In the quiet moments of ascent, as the blue-green planet receded beneath them, the team exchanged a final series of gestures, a mixture of acknowledgement, gratitude, and reflection. They had ventured into the unknown, faced adversity, adapted, and learned not just about Earth, but about themselves. The mission's conclusion was not merely a return to their home world, but the culmination of a transformative journey. Had reshaped their understanding of survival, empathy, and the value of interdependent life systems. Though the adventure had ended, lessons and experiences would resonate across light years, informing future missions, interactions, and decisions. As the spacecraft pierced the upper atmosphere and entered the silence of space, the aliens knew that the planet they had explored would remain a permanent teacher in their collective consciousness. It's a vivid reminder that the universe's greatest lessons are often found not in data, but in experience.